Welcome back to Glastonbury. The main event is upon us. The Glastonbury Tournament Grand Final. I say the main event. That was obviously the sock wrestling yesterday evening. But this is a close well, no, the Masters Final. This is definitely at least the third biggest thing. It's important. It's worth watching, certainly. Shakedown taking on Mythagon here in the final of Glastonbury Tournament, the 2019 edition, the 20th anniversary edition, the 21st running of this historic tournament. Shakedown taking on Mythagon, and Shakedown begin on offense. And they begin on offense in a very calm manner. As I say that, they put up a slightly spicy blade and it goes over the head of the receiver. Mythagon with a great early break chance, and they can't really do anything with it. Bounces off the receiver's hands, back to Shakedown, and they're going to put it deep. There's a chance to chase this down, but it's always going to go out of bounds in the end. And a little bit of a sloppy start to this game from both sides here. This time it's Mythagon's turn to look deep. And they also can't complete, so 2 turnovers apiece already in this point. Not the hot start to this game that perhaps people anticipated.
Under now, horse. Or Hannah, one of you.
Just about find a deep option after tight Mythagon pressure. Just about slows them down. Now the deep shot goes well tracked in on the sideline. And Shakedown eventually at the third time of asking punch it in, and they take a 1-0 lead. So add another one to the tour count for the weekend, I assume. There we go. Doesn't it look resplendent? Firm 14 so far today. And there was a lovely shot of a tree. There's been a lot of greenery doing the rounds here this weekend at Glasgow. And the ball rolls out the back of the end zone. Somehow avoids the tent. So a man who has never played for Bristol Mythago brings the disc in from the front of the end zone. There are spaces, but they're being not particularly proactive about manipulating the defenders to try and draw them even further away. There is a deep there. I'm pretty sure they're trying to bait that. They look pretty calm with it so far. There's plenty of spaces against the zone. I really want to see them pick up the pace a little bit. Get defenders committing. Nice work. Threading it through. A little pop goes into the middle. And now swinging around. And eventually they turn it over, so the zone slows them down enough to get the disc. Reset goes back. Wants the big option. He's got to put it. There's a couple of defenders there, but none of them can get the block. And Shakedown get a break to go along with the first goal. They're now 2-0 up. Very solid start to the game for Shakedown after a pretty messy first O point. They get the turn on D and then march it down coolly for the goal. I'm looking again, he faked it a little bit nonchalantly, but he clearly only ever had one thing in mind, looking for that deep option. And it feels like Shakedown will probably go back to that deep game on a couple of occasions. Going for a blading pool, lands a little bit short of the end zone. Nice long barrier position. Would like to see him just pick it up and get it moving. Scuba goes over the top. Now running a nice give-go on the sideline, getting it into the middle. Tried to get it back once more. But eventually have to take the reset. Now they go towards the far side. Scuba goes into plenty of space. Just resetting it calmly. Force eventually comes on. Nice aggressive breaking of the force. Trying to blade it all the way across the pitch. Reeled in low to the ground. They've got a reset free. We'd love to see them activate that earlier. The red zone defense here just trying to stagnate the Mythagon offense. Blading around. This is going to hang a little bit. But picked the right receiver and he got into the right space. A little dish right to the front of the end zone. It's going to give Mythagon their first point of the game, reducing the deficit to just 2-1. And that pool is so bad, it set a car alarm off. That must be the brick alarm. That looks a bit like a foul to me. That can't be allowed. Come on now. Shakedown, bring it in, immediately find an underneath option. There is a reset available. Eventually utilised. Now trying to squeeze it down the sideline.
Get off that line. Go shake one more.
A little bit of a reset pass. Skying hammer over the top. Back in the middle. Getting a yardage gain up. Finding spaces nicely here. Shakedown looking very confident. Low pass, slides to his knees. Make sure he's got a backboard. And they're right on the doorstep, knocking at the threshold. The precipice of the end zone. Shakedown, find an open side option. And their 2-point advantage restored for 3-1. Shakedown looking very solid in the early stages here. Don't. It's lovely, patient end zone offense there from Shakedown. As there is a man with a terrible mustache doing a terrible thing. Using a tortilla chip to eat cold beans out of a can. And that pull went for the blade to come back in bounds, but it went out of bounds early and never returned. So they're going to sacrifice a lot of field position on this. Went out of bounds right in front of the camera. And then just squeezes past the defender. And now they're off to the races, and before you know it, they're already in the end zone. So here you see them just going it all the way into the end zone, doing the right thing there, just taking the open pass, and eventually the open pass just happens to be in the end zone. Rather than making a concerted effort to look for a scoring shot, just take the player who's free where they're free. The Seagulls taken residence in the middle of the pitch. Doesn't seem particularly phased that there's an ultimate game going on here. This is a big pull, but it looks like it might just come down in bounds. Was very close to the back of the end zone, but well weighted. Cut starts from the break side, goes towards the open, but he doesn't like it, and instead they go and take the reset option, and now they find someone working underneath. Decent yardage gainer down the far sideline, and another big, expansive cut. Again, gains a lot of field position, nice little toe in there. And this hammer's going to helix. There's going to be a defender in position. He gets a left hand to try and grab it, but he can only knock it away. Turnover comes. And now Mythagon will try and level us up at threes. This shakedown zone was effective early on. It's a little crash just about caught. And a big hammer over the top. Just about worked his way over the defenders. Perfect trajectory for that one. They found a nice space there. And when they don't see anything they like downfield, they're just more than content to work it around the back. Faking that low flick. And now working around the back. Again, working all the way towards the far sideline. Shot into the end zone. It's exactly where it needed to be. It's the perfect amount of touch for that option. And Mythagon level us up for the first time since the game started. We're now at 3s. Got broken early on the second point, and they've now earned it back. See there, a couple of defenders converged on the hammer. They made a bracket on the receiver. So after they can't field the ball cleanly, Shakedown have to go right from the back of their own end zone. And they choose to try and huck their way out of trouble. It curves towards the far sideline. Snags it in with the left hand. There's a player wide open in the centre. Didn't seem like she was looking for it, and they take the reset. Now this goes backwards, and they're going to take a hammer towards that far sideline. That is a hell of a shot from Shakedown. And they go up 4-3. So currently on serve, halfway through the first half of this game, being played at a reasonably quick pace. Shakedown currently up 4-3 on Mythagon. Shakedown will pull, looking to get another break on the board. It looks deep. The question is whether it is too deep. And it just about is. So it's going to be borrowed from the brick mark by Mythagon. So more zone from Shakedown. As they are very content to do. Instantly break it with the backhand. Try and get it into the teeth when they don't like it. Go around the back. Nice little scuba here, comes to the near side. And they're just calmly matriculating this down the field. At the moment, Mythagon, there's a nice swing into space. Faking the backhand, and again, and again. Now pops into the middle. It goes towards the far side. And they're going to shoot all the way atop. This is going to hang. Defender's going to get a chance, but not enough of a chance. Putting faith in the tall receiver. I think defender maybe got a little bit of the contact as he tried to get the block. Goes over to check that he's okay. As you see, TD Ed there with the adorable little tournament grand prize and the spectacular spirit prize as well. See it again on the replay. Just two people going up fairly. A little bit of physicality, but that's fine. So the tour count continues to go up. That's the location, and that's the prize. The Glastonbury Tournament Trophy, and that Spirit helmet as well. The tour ornament. That's a lovely bit of business. Top quality pun work. You see why people love Glasgow. There's a young lad with a very stylish bike on the sidelines. The Shakedown bring the disc in from the front line of the end zone. Reeled in with the left. And the lefty then fakes the backhand. Underneath option goes. And his point block looking for a swing, but there's a potential foul call here. It's difficult to tell from that angle. The player's kind of shielded away. So it's uncontested. And possession remains in Shakedown hands. And Shakedown love looking at those hammers. It's a nice reception. Made that look easier than it was. Little high release flick and some toe drag swag at the front of the end zone for Shakedown to retake the lead at 5-4. Don't think there's a call here, but they're just going to have a little bit of discussion about the level of contact there on that deep reception. Good to see players keeping those channels of communication open. To Shakedown took a 2-0 lead. Traded for a couple of points and then Mythagon were able to earn that break back. So on serve at the moment, 5-4 Shakedown. Going for a flick pull. It looks deep, it looks very deep, and it looks like it's going to go out the back just about. I've seen a lot of teams pull out the back here with these shorter fields. Low flick. Finds an option. Oh, that's high and that's floaty. Defender goes up early. And having seen that, receiver is just able to work it and watch it into his hands. And they're shooting for the end zone. And they're shooting for the goal as well. Tying back up at 5. Shakedown after noticing that Mythagon had kind of unlocked how to really work through that zone, transitioning to a match defense, but Mythagon didn't really seem to have too many problems with it either. They maybe got a little bit dicey with that high swing pass, but afterwards they found their matchups nicely and enough separation for that shot to go. And Mythagon ties back up at 5s. So just one break apiece so far in this game. 25 minutes gone, so a third of the way through time-wise and a third of the way through score-wise as well. As that pool looks like it doesn't quite get the right edge. Tails off out of the far sideline. Vertical set for Shakedown that's set very close, and they scuba towards the break side to start things off. A little bit worried about the propensity for picks when they're set in so tight, but they do a good job of avoiding those. It's a low flick, and that is well reeled in. Strong hands, hammering again to the break side. They love those hammers and putting faith in the big receiver. A couple of defenders peeled off to get there and scoobering over the top. Made that grab look so casual. A little bit of class and quality there from Shakedown. Going back in front, 6-5. You see here, they knew that he wanted that hammer and they watched it well. It began to helix a little bit at the end, but went up strong and instantly looking for the overheads that Shakedown are so comfortable throwing and receiving. So on serve, Shakedown up 6-5. Here at the Glastonbury Tournament Final, the 21st edition of this wonderful and historic tournament. So we'll see whether Shakedown stick with the match defense that they came out with last time. It's a very solid pull, and again, just about out of bounds. Teams seem always to pull, just default, you want to pull from the front of the end zone, but with the pitch slightly shorter, you're probably better off pulling from probably about midway. Maybe thinking about the option on this far side, on this near sideline, but rather than trying to get it all the way over the traffic, instead taking a reset. Shakedown, come back with the zone. There is a dump wide open. And they're really picking up the pace now. Oh, I thought there was a little pop through, and there's I think it's going to go back on a travel call here. A lot of times with these quick give-go movements, you really need to accentuate that pickup to make it very obvious that there's no travel. Mythagon check it back in. Try and take away the intermediary receiver, and the defender gets a bit in it, but can't quite get it. There was agonisingly close for Shakedown. And now they just pop it into the front cone. And after a little bit of hair and scare him at one point, eventually Mythagon level us up at 6s. This game looking like it could go all the way, folks. So that ball is going to go way out the back of the end zone. right into the camping sites. Ultimate athletes spend a lot more time in the gym than they used to. So Shakedown have the disc on the far sideline. Nice little toe in there. Fake that backhand. Is a cutter that's gone deep. Oh, this scuba is pretty speculative. Tipped up and he couldn't get it at the second chance. They really love putting those overheads, even when most teams won't, and that time it came back to bite them a little bit. So Mythagon have the disc with a chance to take their first lead of the game. Trying to work it around. Just moving it about the back. This doesn't seem to be as fluid as it has on some other possessions. And the throw's a little bit behind, and Shakedown do get their turn back. So finally with an opportunity to take the lead for the first time. Mythagon can only throw it into the grass. But this is good defense again. Putting a high option over the top. That's a wonderful throw. Expressive fakes and a little bit of a no-look. Trying to sell the defenders with the eyes, looking into the backfield. But he knew exactly where the cutter was, located in the peripheral vision. And a little bit of deception frees it up in the back of the end zone. And Shakedown go back in front at 7-6. Look at the cheek of this. Lovely little throw, that one. So Shakedown will try and get a break to take us into half here. Mythagon will obviously be hoping to prevent that from happening and marching it down the field once more. So trying to get a bit more shape on this one. Get some more inside out, and it's fielded right at the front of the end zone line. Caught and got moving by Mythagon. And Mythagon are going to have to try and work against the match defensive Shakedown on this point. Already got it at midfield. And there's definitely going to be a pick there. Caught it pretty early, but I think they already caught the disc. Players reset their positions and it's checked in.
No break, no break.
Powers his way up line. Nice expressive fake. Oh, he bobbles it and catches it. No, not quite. Was already looking at what the next possible option was. Just assumed that he made the catch and somehow it squirted through his grasp. And Shakedown want to end the first half in style, looking for a big, expansive blade, and it's exactly where it needs to go. Beautiful throw. A scorching sidearm shot. With just enough sriracha on it. And Shakedown will go into the second half of the Glastonbury final with an 8-6 lead over Mythagon. Welcome back to a grey afternoon here in the southwest. The Somerset skies a little bit foreboding, but still a fantastic setting for the Glastonbury tournament final. Shakedown currently up a break, leading 8-6 over Mythagon and going for a blading flick pull, fielded with a long barrier style position. And the Shakedown zone that they relied upon quite heavily in the first half comes back out. Expansive blade over the top. Just waited for a split second. And though I would like to see him maybe go up and attack that a bit stronger, does get it clearly in his control before the defender knocks it out. So good spirit there to quickly uncontest that. So it's checked back in. And Mythagon get back to work. Fakes that low release backhand and takes the around flick instead. Now threading it through into the middle of the defense. Oh, this throw's going to hang a little bit. Big versus little. Bit of discussion. It's going to be an uncontested strip. See it again on the replay. Has it in the grasp and then gets contact with it. So a couple of uncontested strips there on that point. Resolved nice and quickly and fairly. And Mythagon don't care about that size disparity. Get that shot just about right. But there's still a breakdown here at 8-7. He's got a hand closed around it and the defender just takes that back edge. And with a big hand, just about swats it out. So fields the rolling pull. And Mythagon coming out in a match defense. Try and slow down Shakedown. It's a low throw. Scooped up nicely. On the near sideline. Shows the hammer, goes for it. But it's too far out in front. I think it would have been out of the sideline as well. Nothing the receiver could do. Had to give it up when he thought it was going out of bounds. It wasn't particularly close. So Mythagon held on the first point. A break here would bring them back level. And bring the game back on serve. But this is a very difficult position to start from. However, they find a nice around shot down the far sideline. And now with a little bit more space, begin to get to work. The tiniest of little pops. Now crashing into the middle with a big deep shot. I think this is going to take a little bit of a wind with that edge. Takes it out of the far sideline. So they can't do anything with the turn that they earn. There's a tiny bit of a breeze that's begun to creep in, pretty much for the first time all weekend here at Glastonbury. Pretty dreamy ultimate conditions, it has to be said. Generally this weekend, far cry from the wind and rain of last year. See what Shakedown can do on their second possession. They look deep. There is separation. Can they close the gap quickly? No, not quite quickly enough. And it's in the end zone as well. So Shakedown on their second possession get it done in just one pass. And their 2 point advantage is restored at 9-7. So Mythagon now coming back out on O. And this side trying to work it down the sideline. Shakedown defenders are all over it, with a chance to get their first 3-point lead. Checked in. Nice up line cut goes. Now they get it into the middle. This is a very good position, just a few yards out of the end zone. Both sides to attack. They take the reset. Fakes the flick. Cutter goes to the side. Oh, and he spanners the catch. Had all the time in the world to catch it, but just didn't get his hands set completely above one another, and it spanners and atrials out of his grasp. And Mythagon looking more assured on this second possession. It's about as far as they got last time down, and that is a beautiful arcing flick over the top of the defense. Lovely put that from Mythagon to bring them back within one. Shakedown had an opportunity to open up a 3-point advantage, but Mythagon keeping it close and keeping it tight. Oh, a little kick up to catch, a little bit of flair as they field the pool. Watches it in his hands. Travel, resets his feet. Goes for the big shot. There's a defender there and he gets a tip on it, but he didn't catch it. And it goes straight back into Shakedown hands. You've got to catch your deal. That's what happens. And it's a little bit cluttered. But Shakedown just about squeezing in, jamming in the jam hole for a 10-8 lead. Maybe they got a little bit fortuitous with that one, but if you don't catch your Ds, you leave that door open, and Shakedown just barged through it. Have a look at it again. Look at that unbelievable techers from Shakedown. As was the D that was tipped. You've got to credit the fact that Shakedown had 3 players there, and one of them was waiting for a potential sloppy second opportunity. So Shakedown put their 10-point advantage back at, or their 2-point advantage, excuse me, back at 10-8. So this flick pull is going to come down with snow on it. And that hang time means that they can get set in position. And Mythagon try and get the pace picked up quickly. Keep the Shakedown defense on their heels. But eventually they do get set at about the halfway mark. Seems pretty comfortable so far. There's a hammer towards the near sideline, but they're going to take the blade instead. Equally valid option. Another hammer goes towards the far sideline, and the defender can only watch it go over his head. Beautiful spacing from Mythagon. Shakedown defenders left all in a quandary, not sure who to take. Maybe you think if we're going to leave someone open, it's going to be that more difficult hammer shot all the way across the pitch. But Mythagon were more than equal to them. Just keeping pace, just needs to still get those breaks though. 10-9 down. It's very still here this weekend, and that means teams are more than happy to put up these overheads. And he turns his head, but by that time the disc's already gone and he can't quite close the gap. Sees the receiver's got all the position. It's a lovely throw. The lefty hammering it over the top. So a backhand pull, fielded cleanly in. Shakedown, get their offense set. There's a colour that's gone deep. And when players try to get back in position, they take a swing all the way over to the near sideline. And tight pressure. It's going to result in a foul call. So the two players engaged in discussion here. So the foul's going to be uncontested. Take a reset backwards. Call for a backhand force, maybe wary about those hammers towards the far sideline, but they're going with a roll curving backhand. Receiver had to wait for it to come back in. Defenders under no such obligations. Streaking towards it, so Shakedown's offense has got a couple of turns creeping in these past few points. So far they've been able to earn them back. No breaks yet in this second half. Mythagon looking very calm. Working those give-goes nicely. Hammer towards the far sideline. There's a player in space in the end zone making the catch. Mythagon break and tie us back up at 10s. 50 minutes gone. 10-10. This game on track to go right the way down to the wire. So Mythagon with a pull that looks good. He's going to sit. Oh, might just take the wrong edge, but he wouldn't take the risk. Wants to get it moving quickly. Mythagon try and get their defense set. They're going match defense once more. Nice snag, that one with the left hand. Another low pass. Can't be reeled in. Mythagon with fantastic field position and a chance to take their first lead at 11-10. Backhand force. It's a flick for the lefty, Chun-Li. Beautiful reset off. Fakes the high release backhand. Now a strike cut goes from the handler. Nice gainer. 5 yards out. Desperately trying to stop the break, but that's a beautiful throw. Thought it could have gone, and they go late, and there's a bid, and it's not quite going to get there. Valiant effort from Shakedown, but Mythagon eventually just about punched the short field turnover in, and they're in front for the first time all game at 11-10. I was very surprised that scoring shot didn't go initially, but rather than take the around, tried to get that inside backhand through, and it just about made it. It really baited those defenders to come in, and it was a heroic, valiant effort. But a split second shy from a Shakedown perspective. Credit the force for knowing that around was potentially going to go and stopping it and forcing that inside throw to be the option instead. So Shakedown now trailing for the first time in this contest in the final third of the game. See if they can pick themselves up and put themselves back in the driving seat, or whether Mythagon can maybe extend this advantage. Fielded on the hop by Shakedown. Underneath cut goes. Just about squeezes a reset through up line. Steps into an IO flick. This is going to require a big grab, and he tips it up, but good work following it. A slightly unorthodox look with that backhand force. Just had a little bit of a space to fire and rifle that inside flick that I thought was going to be too hot to handle. It's in that very narrow window. Just about finds the space to shoot the IO flick. Tips it up, but credit rather than just get his head down. Keeps eye contact with the disc, so he knows exactly where it's going, and he's able to make the second effort snatch. And that's a floating pull, fielded by Mythagon. Getting an up line cut. There's a player who's gone deep with separation. I think there's potentially a pick here. So potentially a travel call here is the infraction. Yeah, he's taken a little bit of a walk there. I think that's a fair cop. Why would you do that anyway? Why would you make more work for yourself? Nice plant and coming under. They're going to shoot the flick deep. It's hot to handle and a little bit too hot. Wasn't confident getting it with the left. Tried to snag it with the right, but the spin's going the wrong way for that. There was separation, but I don't think the pass needs to come out quite as hot as it did. So we'll see if Shakedown can break back instantly to regain the lead. Low down this island, too far out in front. Receiver put in an acrobatic bid, but it came to nothing. A couple of defenders switched onto the up line cut, and the disc swings into the centre. Little Oyo towards that far side. The outside, inside out. That blade shape towards the inside out channel. And this is beautiful, fast-paced offense, and there's a pick that's going to leave him quite so free. So in an angle you can't quite see where the pick occurs. And this can now check back in. Going to try and force into the front of the end zone, and they do. Mythagon retake their lead at 12-11. This was how they turned over. Superman style. Swallow dive almost out the sideline, but he couldn't get the disc. And eventually Mythagon punched it in. Outpacing their opponents 12-11. I'm going to watch the pool and watch it all the way out of bounds. So brick is going to be taken by Shakedown. And underneath pass, just straight up run through and caught. Maybe got a little bit nonchalant and lackadaisical with it. Great hustle from Mythagon to get the run through, and they punch it in quickly. So they're now 2 points in front for the very first time. So Shakedown now. Can't let Mythagon, excuse me, extend this advantage too much. Especially this late in the game. They look downfield, but with nothing really developing, they take the reset instead. Low throw kept alive. Shakedown receivers look a little bit tired downfield. Just about squeaks it past the defender. Now Shakedown goes into the centre. High release backhand. Run through once more. Feels like Mythagon just have a little bit more in the legs at this late stage of the tournament and the late stage of the game. Nice gainer towards this sideline. Big plant coming underneath. Tries to squeeze it through. There's a player wide open, but wide open because of a pick. This is going to go back. So a little bit of discussion here. So players will just resolve their positioning. If you're Mythagon, you've got time. You don't need to jam this here. You can just work it around until you find the window. But Shakedown will try and stifle them in the red zone. Little Blady, but caught on the near sideline. Doesn't jam it in. There's a player open. Eventually they peel off onto it. That continuation is high and floaty. Hell of a snag high above the head. Offhand backhand goes into the middle. Shakedown forcing them backwards. And they free up that break space nicely. There's a wide open reset. Looked at it a couple of times and didn't take it. And they have to take something a lot more speculative. And that's the risk. If you look off the open pass, you always tend to get yourself in trouble later. Even if it's not necessarily a positive or aggressive option, looking off players who are free is never a good idea. Well, that looked a little bit rushed. Couldn't get a hand around it. And Shakedown have been so composed for much of this game, seeming a little bit flustered now. Their tournament hopes maybe hang by a thread. And what a sliding snag from Mythagon to bring them within 1 point of victory. 14-11 up they are now. Shakedown on the brink of elimination here. But we've seen them string together some beautiful passages of play. So it wouldn't necessarily surprise me, were they able to string a run together. It would be a hell of a run against the Mythago team that has suddenly caught fire in the late stages of this game. Shakedown's title hopes hanging by a thread. But we'll see how long this thread is. Trying to kick it up and catch it again. That one didn't quite come off as well as it did last time. Again, we'd still like to see a more solid stopping of the roll off the pull. And now the Shakedown offense looking a bit more back to its fluent best. Finding the spaces a lot better on this possession. Dishing it now just outside the end zone, and I think a miscommunication. Not quite looking for it. Oh, he tried to get too casual for it, went for the no look, thought he knew where the receiver was going to be, but it wasn't right, and this throw has come out all wrong for Mythagon. Mythagon wrong, and now they're trying to look deep once more, but a great defensive block, quickly jogs it up to the front line. Pivots around, finds an option. Doesn't like that first, underneath, takes the second. Shakedown, sideline, desperately trying to fire up their teammates, and it seems to work. But there's going to be a call here. See it again on the replay. Certainly feels like the defender has position, but we can't see from that angle necessarily exactly how much contact there was and whether it affected it. So it's going to be an uncontested foul. Just stays with Mythagon, taking that up line with the blade. Cutters go deep, but they don't like it on this occasion. Reset into the middle. Swinging around, looking for another aggressive break down the sideline.
Keep working, keep working. Come on, keep running, keep running.
Still tight to that sideline. And they turn it over in the centre of the field. So Shakedown unable to clamp down late in this game. Looking for a big option. Takes a saucy little scuba underneath. I feel like I'd like to see them maybe go for a little bit more gift go. But they're going to go for the big blade. Will it stay in bounds? Tries to toe it. If he would have caught it, might have just been able to keep that toe in, but it was a difficult ask. Certainly the throw went much closer to the side than perhaps they would have wanted. Swung centrally. Coming underneath. Sun beginning to burst through the clouds and just thrown straight to a Shakedown defender. And everything just seems to go a little bit ragged now. Breaking it off. And now continuing it. Unable to gain yards, but so they switch and redirect the flow of traffic back towards the open side. Finding up line cut, well snagged in. Fakes the deep. There's no one going for it though. Getting a lot of love with these strike cuts on this point. Mythagon showed the hammer, but he wasn't going to put it. Just trying to cool it down a little. Trying to blade it down the sideline and blade it too far. Again, they're seeing the opportunities and they're rushing them. Not really stepping out and executing these throws. Losing the form and the shape. Shakedown bringing it in from the end zone line. Nice cut goes up the line. There's a swing into the centre. Continue it towards the near sideline now. Switch it, go back. Nice little around break. Tries to squeeze it into this narrow channel. Yeah, there's not a huge amount of space. In any case, the throw went to the inside rather than the outside shoulder. But Mythagon give it back immediately, and the throw comes in a little bit hot. Shakedown can't corral it. Oh, a little bobble. And things getting very flustered and hasty. They want to end it all in style with a hammer over the top. And Mythagon have got the gold. They are your Glastonbury Tournament 2019 champions. They were 11-10 down at one point, and then they put together 5 on a spin to end this game, and they come home 15-11 winners over Shakedown in the Glastonbury 2019 final. Commiserations to Shakedown. They were so good for much of this game, and in the final third they just lost a little bit of energy, just didn't quite have that gas and that juice in the legs. And Mythagon pounced. They just seemed to have that extra pep in their step. and raced away with it in the end. 5 on the bounce to take a 15-11 win. That will bring an end to our coverage here of the 21st running of the world famous Glastonbury tournament. Thank you so much for watching all our coverage this weekend, both of UKU Masters Nationals yesterday and of all our games today as well. It's been an honour and a privilege to bring you action from one of the highlights of the UK Ultimate Party calendar. It's been another fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for watching. For everyone here at the Tour Sports and Leisure Centre, we're going to come back, take a little break, and come back with us for the medal ceremony, which will follow very shortly.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Glastonbury. We have our winners of the 20th anniversary Glastonbury Mythagon. Here is your prize.
Smile for the cameras, dude.
I'm terrible with this sort of thing.
Come on, Benji. Good, and I'll get one of you guys. Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks for coming, everybody. All the fans, all the players, and all of our millions of watchers on YouTube. See you next year. Hey!